I think we can go ahead and get started. I know Jeff's got some great content to cover today. But welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. My name is Christina Caesar and I manage marketing and communications at Synergy Technical, and I have the honor of introducing today's speaker and moderating today's session. Today's webinar will be a recap on Microsoft Build 2023, which happened at the end of May. It's their annual conference focused on announcements and feature updates relative to the Microsoft's business development tools. Our speaker, Jeff, will introduce shortly. We'll be walking you through the major announcements specific to the Power Platform Suite, as well as Copilot in Office 365. Just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, and please drop any questions or comments within the Q&A function within Teams. Just a little bit about us. Synergy Technical is an IT consulting firm headquartered in Richmond, Virginia. We have clients in over 70 countries in all 50 states and manage over 3 million licenses of Microsoft 365 for our clients through our licensing and managed services practice. And now, you don't have to listen to me talk anymore. I have the pleasure of introducing today's speaker, Jeff Lau. So Jeff is one of our best business analysts and SharePoint developers that specializes in the Power Platform Suite. Previously, we used to say you could always find him and can still find Jeff working on client projects and development. But I'm so excited to say that over the last year, he's done some amazing webinars with the marketing team, and you now can find a playlist of his previous webinar recordings on our YouTube channel, which I will drop in the chat shortly. And with that raving introduction, I'll hand things over to you, Jeff.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. So hello, everyone. Again, my name is Jeff Lau, and it's my pleasure to go ahead and take you through some of the announcements that were given to us during the Build 2023 of this year. So that took place a couple weeks ago. And so what we're going to do is go through some of the announcements, some of the main core announcements around the Power Platform. It was a pretty broad developer conference, so there's a lot of technologies that we're not going to cover today. But if you do want to go ahead and check that out and dive a little deeper, Christine will go ahead and leave a link to all of the build sessions that you can just go ahead and watch on demand. So you can watch those whenever you'd like to. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But again, the Build 2023 conference is basically a conference where Microsoft basically goes through some of their core announcements and some of the updates that came out across of their products and services. So it was a really awesome conference. And yeah, again, take a look at those on-demand sessions if you'd like to. But let's go ahead and get started. Here on the screen, you'll see that we have all of the Power Platform tools. So Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, and Power Pages. And during Build 2023, each of these tools were given an announcement, a feature update, and it all really has to revolve around this new feature called Copilot. And if you haven't heard of Copilot, it's an amazing thing that has come out over the past year now. And basically, it's an AI feature, an AI assistant that'll help you work with these Microsoft tools. And you can work with them using natural language. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But basically, I'm going to take you through each feature that was given to each of these tools. And so let's go ahead and get started. We will start with Power Apps. So Power Apps was given this Copilot. And basically, the main functionality with this is being able to create Canvas apps using natural language. And so here I have a little example to show you guys. So this is the Power Apps main page. And at the top, you'll see we have this text box where you can basically generate an application by using natural language. So I'll go ahead and play this. And in this particular example, we are building a site inspection details app. So you simply just type that in the search bar and click submit. And the first thing it's going to do is it's actually going to create Dataverse tables for your application. So if you're not familiar with Dataverse, it's basically the database that you can build these Canvas apps on top of. And so what it'll do is it'll go ahead and build a Dataverse table that's relevant to whatever application you're trying to build. And it'll go ahead and do that. And you can see here we have a couple different fields that it'll go ahead and create for you, like inspection date, inspection name, inspector type. And so it'll create that for you. And then you'll also see that we have this Copilot that'll go ahead and follow you around during the whole entire process. So maybe you want to make some updates to this table that it's built for you. Maybe you want to delete some fields that aren't relevant, or maybe you want to add some more fields. You could do that by simply just typing in whatever you want to do in this Copilot feature. And so for this particular example, they are going to add a column called location, and we also want to populate it with sample data. So you just type that in, and Copilot will go ahead and take care of those additions. And you can see that happening here. And then you can go ahead and click Create App. And what Power Apps will do is it'll generate an application for you based on what you're trying to build. And here you can see it's a full working application. You have a gallery of all of your items, and then you have the ability to make edits, and you can also delete items as well. So all this was created by simply just typing in what kind of app you wanted to create and submitting that, and Power Apps did all the rest for you. A really awesome thing about this is that it'll make your app responsive as well, which means your app can work on a mobile phone, a tablet, desktop, whatever kind of device that you have. And if you know anything about Power Apps, you know that it takes a lot to actually create an application that is responsive. So it's really neat that this will do that automatically for you. All right, the other feature that we have with the Power Apps Copilot is the ability to actually add a Copilot control to your existing applications. So here you can see we have an application, that same site inspections app that we created a little bit earlier, and we added this Copilot control to the app. So that users can go into this app now and simply just ask questions to this Copilot control. And so here we're asking the question, what sites were recently inspected? And users can ask their questions, submit them, and get immediate responses from this Copilot. So it's essentially just a chatbot that you can add to your existing applications, and it will go ahead and give you answers for your users. So really cool stuff there. All right, moving on, we also have a Power Pages Copilot for, or we have a Copilot for Power Pages. And if you're not familiar with Power Pages, this is the tool that allows you to create external websites. And so there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the Power Pages Copilot. You can generate new pages. You could also generate text and images as well. And so before this Copilot existed, it did take a lot of work to go ahead and create these websites. And so with the Copilot, it's going to make it a lot easier for beginners to go ahead and hop in and create websites. And so here I'll show you an example of this in action. So we're in the context of a site called Woodgrove Bank here. And maybe we want to change the text on this main page. So what we can do is simply just click on this text here, and we can define what we want to change the text to. So maybe we want to rewrite the text to be more helpful. Simply just type that in, submit that, and it'll go ahead and change the text with its suggested text. So really cool stuff. And being able to generate text like that is very convenient, can help you kind of put together these pages much more quickly. Another awesome feature with the Power Pages Copilot is the ability to actually generate user forms. And so here in this example, we are on the student loan application page. So we're in the context of that same site that we were looking at a second ago, Woodgrove Bank. And we want to create a form for our students to come in and fill out, to get a student loan. And so normally when you're doing this in Power Pages, you would have to go ahead and create that Dataverse table, and then you would have to create the form from scratch. So really would take quite a while to do that. But with this, you can instantly generate these forms using the Copilot. So I'm going to show you this example here. sorry about that. Actually went to the next slide. All right, so you simply just click the form component in the Power Page, and then you can simply describe what kind of form that you want to create. And so here we're going to create an student loan application form. And then we click submit. And what it'll do, it will give you a preview of what the form is going to look like. And then if you want to make any more updates to it, you can continue to utilize the Copilot feature right here. So maybe you want to take out some of the fields or add additional fields, you can do that as well. But once you've got your form looking the way you want it to, you can simply just add form using the add form button there. And we'll go ahead and place that form onto your page. It's really awesome. I'm excited about this feature. I think it will go ahead and help you accelerate your creation of your Power Page, especially creating forms. All right, and the last feature I want to show you concerning the Power Pages Copilot is this this functionality of adding a chatbot to your Power Page. Initially, you would need to go ahead and create this chatbot from scratch and then add it to your page. Now what you can do is simply just go to the setup inside of Power Pages and simply turn on the create chatbot functionality. And it will go ahead and add a chatbot to your existing website. So here I'll show you kind of how this works. And there you go, simply just turn it on and a chatbot will automatically generate and be placed on your application. So now users can go in and ask questions about Woodgrove Bank and receive answers right away. All right, so moving on to Power Virtual Agents. One of the main features that we were exposed to is this thing called generative answers. And basically, this is going to allow you to connect your chatbots to external websites. So this is going to be really awesome because now you don't have to go ahead and create all of your conversations within your chatbot. You can simply just connect it to a website. So whether that be an external facing website or an internal SharePoint site, your chatbot can go ahead and query answers from those sites. So this is an awesome feature, and I will show this a little more in depth when we go into the demonstration towards the end, but really excited about this one. And also, just like the other tools, Power Virtual Agents has a Copilot as well. So if you are creating a more complex chatbot where you're actually having to define all of those different conversations, you'll have this chatbot, or you'll have this Copilot available to you throughout the whole process that can help you generate the different topics that you may have for your chatbot. So I'm glad that we have that available to you because initially it was, could be kind of complex to kind of create these chatbots without it. So that'll definitely help you, especially if you're a beginner. All right, and moving on to Power Automate. Again, Power Automate has a Copilot as well. So you can see kind of how this is the main theme of this year's Build 2023. It's all around this Copilot feature, and we have it for Power Automate as well. So you can see here, we have our Copilot here on the right side that'll go ahead and help you build out workflows using natural language. And we've also have this new Power Automate Studio. So it's a much more cleaner design if you're familiar with the traditional Power Automate Studio. This one's much more cleaner, and interacting with it and building flows is a lot easier now. So definitely take a look at the new Power Automate Copilot. Another announcement that we got for Power Automate, which doesn't really have to do with the Copilot, but it's this thing called Power Automate Work Queues. And what this is going to allow you to do is to make your workflows, your complex workflows, much simpler and reduce the complexity of them. And so basically these work queues are going to allow you to decouple your workflows. And you might have a workflow that has a lot of processing, that might be processing a lot of different items at one time. And the work queues are going to be able to basically allow you to prioritize the different items that are being processed within your workflows. So I think this will be an awesome way to create Power Automate workflows that are less complex. And I think this will also help with handling different errors that might occur within your workflows as well. So definitely take a look at the Power Automate work queues. Really excited about that announcement. And last but not least, we have a Power Automate Copilot for Power BI. And so this is going to be an amazing assistant for you while you create different dashboards and reports inside of Power BI. So you can see here that we have our Copilot, just like all the other Copilots. It'll be on the right side of your screen that you can go ahead and open up and help you create reports. So you can see in this example here, we said, help me build a report summarizing a profile of customers who visited our resort properties over the last 12 months. And we even included some bullet points around what we want our report to include. And we just submitted that, and our Copilot created this full report for us without us having to do a single thing. So this is going to be really awesome. I think it'll be beneficial for not only beginners, but advanced Power BI users as well. It'll go ahead and give you a starting point that you can then go ahead and build off of. So excited about the Power BI Copilot as well. All right, so kind of an announcement around the Power Platform as a whole is this thing called the Power Platform Catalogs. And so this is still relatively new, but this is going to allow you to create and reuse different components inside of the Power Platform. So whether that be Power Automate workflows, Power Apps, maybe even chatbots that you create in Power Virtual Agents, you're going to be able to create those, submit them to a catalog, and then other users within the organization will actually be able to utilize those same components. So I think this will be an awesome tool where you don't have to actually recreate the wheel every time you want to use a component that someone else has already created. So this is still relatively in the newer stages, so definitely take a look out at the updates that'll come to this in the future. All right, so that was kind of the end of all the Power Platform announcements, obviously all centered around that Copilot feature. We also have something in Office 365 called the Office 365 Copilot. And this is kind of marketed as the Copilot for your work. And it's marketed as that because it's going to help you work in all of the different Office applications. So PowerPoint, Word, Excel, and in this case, I'm going to show you the Outlook example. But basically, we're in the Outlook application, and we want to basically use the Copilot here. And there's going to be two options. You're going to be able to be provided coaching with the Copilot and also drafting inside of your emails. So for this particular example, we have drafted an email that we're going to send to a client, and we want to be coached by the Copilot. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you suggestions on how you can make your emails better. And so we'll just simply click that. It will go ahead and generate some suggestions that you can go ahead and make to your email. You can also change the tone of your email. So maybe you want to make it have a little more clarity in your email. You can go ahead and change that. But all this is done using the AI inside of Copilot. All right. And so moving on, this is another example of the Office 365 Copilot, but using it within the Microsoft PowerPoint application. And so you can see in this particular example, we are generating different images that we want to use for our presentation. And so you can type in whatever image that you're looking for. In this case, we are looking to find bulletin boards with, so you can see as it types it in there, bulletin board with postcards and in black and white. So you can get really granular with what kind of images that you're looking for, and you can insert those right into your presentation. All right, and here is Office 365 Copilot being used in the context of a Teams chat. And this is really exciting. I really enjoy this functionality here. And so basically we're in a Teams chat and we want to go ahead and show our colleagues all the information around the March sales report. So we basically just type that in into our Copilot, and Copilot will actually go and query all of the different documents that may be in your tenant that revolve around the March sales report. It'll go ahead and consolidate those, and you can send those to your team. So this will definitely save you a lot of time. You don't have to go and search for all those documents. Copilot will help you consolidate all of those. So really neat stuff inside of Microsoft Teams. And here's another example. This is in the context of an actual Teams meeting. So say we're in a meeting and we want to go ahead and brainstorm some different ideas about how we can optimize our website. And here we can see we are telling our Copilot to go ahead and brainstorm some ideas. And Copilot will go ahead and do that for you. It'll brainstorm all the ideas, and you can simply just send those out to everyone in the meeting. And so this will definitely make your meetings more efficient, more effective. And it's all done being used using this Copilot. All right, so what I want to do now, I want to show you guys a couple short demonstrations of some of this Copilot stuff. I'm going to show you the Copilot inside of Power Automate, and I'm also going to show you that generative answers functionality that I mentioned a little earlier. So let's go ahead and head over to my desktop. And so here we are inside of Power Automate. And right away, you'll see if you've ever been to powerautomate.com, this will look a little new to you because now we have this text box up here where you can go ahead and describe a flow that you want to go ahead and build. And so in this particular example, we are going to we want a workflow that will save our Microsoft form to SharePoint. And so we can simply just type that in and click this little submit button here. And what this will do is it will generate a workflow based on what you're trying to achieve here. And here we go, we have our suggested workflow. So when a new response is submitted through Microsoft Forms, we want to go ahead and get those form details and create a SharePoint list item based off of that. And so really cool stuff, how it can create that just off of natural language. Really excited about this. And if this is not the flow that you want to create, for some reason it just didn't get it right, you can, of course, come up here and make adjustments to what you want to create and try again. But this is, in fact, what we want to create, so we're going to click Next. It'll go ahead and connect to the connectors, so Microsoft Forms and SharePoint. And here we can go ahead and fill in the different parameters that we need for our trigger and action items. So we'll choose the form that we want to get the details from. And of course, we want to create that SharePoint item at the end, so we'll need to go ahead and choose a SharePoint site and a list. And then we can go ahead and create the workflow. Okay, so I created an entire workflow by just simply using natural language. So really awesome stuff right there. And also we have this new Power Automate Studio interface here. You can see it's a lot cleaner in my opinion. And when you go to edit an existing trigger or action, you see that we have this nice window that pops out now, and you can go ahead and change the settings much easier. All right, so you also see that we have our Copilot over here on the right side that you can access at any point in time. And so maybe you want to make an edit to your workflow. You can simply just type in the change that you want, and it'll go ahead and make those changes for you. So let's go ahead and show an example of that. So maybe I want to add an update item action at the very end of my flow. So after this create item, so what I can do is just type in add an update SharePoint action, SharePoint item action after create item. And I'll submit that. And what it should do is go ahead and generate an update item action right at the end of my workflow here. Alrighty, and so there we go. We can see that it did indeed create that action step, all using natural language. All right, so I'm not going to take you through building out the rest of this workflow, but you can kind of see the gist of how this all works. So really cool stuff inside of Power Automate, and this is similar, obviously, to creating a Power App. If you're in Power Apps using the Copilot, again, you can use natural language to go ahead and create an application and use the Power Apps Copilot, and throughout the whole app creating process to go ahead and make changes to your application. All right, so the last thing I want to show you guys is the Power Virtual Agents Generative Answers functionality. So here I am inside of Power Virtual Agents. We have a chatbot that I went ahead and spun up. And so normally when you're creating a Power Virtual Agents chatbot, you would have to go to the topics here, and you would have to define each individual conversation that your user may have with your chatbot. And so obviously that could take a lot of time to build that out. But maybe we just want to point our chatbot to a website and have it go ahead and query answers that's on the website. So we can do that now. And if we go down to AI capabilities, there's this new capability that you can go ahead and turn on, and it's called Boost Conversations with Generative Answers. So what I'll do is I'll turn that on. And then within this text box right here, I can go ahead and define the site that I want to add to my chatbot. So in this particular case, I'm going to use the Synergy Technical website. And so what I'll do is I'll just open up a tab here. And we can type in Synergy Technical. I'll just navigate to our website. All right. And so what I'll do is I'll just grab the URL from our site, and then we'll go back to Power Virtual Agents. And what I'll do is I'll simply just paste this URL inside of our chatbot here. And I'll click Add. All right, so now we have associated the chatbot with that website. I'll go ahead and click Save. And so now we can go ahead and test out our bot and see if it will go ahead and give me some answers. So maybe we want to know more about Synergy Technical. So what I can do is I can say something like, tell me about Synergy Technical. And so what it'll do is go ahead and query an answer from the website that we have attached to it. So, and there it goes. So Synergy Technical is an industrial leading Microsoft Gold partner, etc. And it also gives us a link to where it actually found this information on the website. So we can also click on that if we want to get more details. And that'll take us right to that particular page. All right, so let's head back. We'll try something else here. Maybe we want to get the phone number and the address in order to contact Synergy. So I'll type that in. What is the number and address to reach Synergy Technical? And we'll see if it can handle that. And there we go. So the phone number and address for Synergy Technical, and it went ahead and gave me all of that information. And again, a nice URL that I can go ahead and click on to get more information straight from the website. So a really awesome feature, I think, for Power Virtual Agents. And I think this is going to allow people who are newer to this particular tool to create a chatbot, instantly by just connecting a website of your choice to the chatbot. And you don't have to go and create all of those different conversations. It's a really awesome feature. But that's really all I want to show you guys today in terms of demonstrations. But I definitely would ask you guys to go and check out all those on-demand sessions from the Build website. There's quite a lot of content if you want to dive a little deeper. And there's also a bunch of information about the Build conference that Christina will go ahead and put in the chat as well. But what I want to do now is just go over to question and answer period. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to go ahead and continue to leave those in the chat. But Christina, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we got a couple. And one, great job, Jeb. I'm so excited about Copilot. I think this is going to be huge and I guess, well, that is one of the questions we'll talk about it. But also, for those attending, I did just dropped the session link that Jeff mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that has provides on-demand access to every basically big webinar announcement from the conference. I also dropped the Microsoft Build 2023 Book of News, which is basically a summary of every single major announcement, both Power Platform and non-Power Platform related, that came out. So that's there for you as well. But okay, so with that, first question, Jeff, how can I get access to these preview features in my tenant?
Yeah, so great question. So right now, yeah, again, all of these features are in preview. And if you go to Power Automate or Power Apps, for example, you're not going to have automatically have access to these new Copilot features. What you'll have to do is you actually have to create a preview environment inside of your tenant. So most likely, most of y'all don't have that capability. So you would need to go ahead and reach out to IT to get that environment created. But it is free to do that. So if you're interested in taking a look at these functionalities, definitely reach out and get that environment created. But that is how you get access to these features.
Awesome. This one's a little bit more technical, but does the Power Apps Copilot component that you talked about, I think that was one of the first announcements you covered, query all Dataverse tables?
Right. So in Power Apps, so that's that second functionality that Copilot, where you can add a Copilot control to the application, and it's basically kind of like that virtual agent kind of chatbot that you can add to your apps that'll answer questions for your users. Yeah, and so what you'll do is you'll simply connect that control to a table inside of Dataverse. One thing to keep in mind, and this will answer your question, is that you can only add one table to that control at a time, which means that it will only query questions from one table. So you would have to add multiple controls to the application if you want to go ahead and query information on more than one table, if that makes sense. But good question, yeah.
Cool. And last but definitely the greatest. Okay, I'm excited about this question. It's juicy. Do you think Copilot will take away the need to learn these technologies? Ooh.
Very juicy question, indeed.
Indeed.
My outlook on that, I guess, is personally, I think Copilot is good for not only beginners to learn how to create or how to work with these technologies, but I also think it's good for someone who's already skilled at using these tools, I think it'll just help them and guide them and get their applications done quickly. And I don't think it's going to take away jobs necessarily. I could see it maybe taking away some, but I think for the most part, it may seem not intuitive, but I think it'll create jobs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so I guess we'll just kind of see as this technology continues to develop what'll happen here. But yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, especially because for an end user like me, it makes the technologies themselves a lot easier to learn. But I think for people like you that specialize in this, it definitely, to your point, streamlines your operations, your day to day. Like, I feel like it frees up a lot of your time. And to my knowledge, so Microsoft has not announced when this will go from preview to GA, correct?
Yeah, they have not announced quite yet. All the stuff is continuing to be in preview, but I'm sure very soon it'll be available. So I definitely wouldn't recommend using any of these features, for production applications yet. I would definitely wait until they reach a more stable, GA point. But yeah.
Cool. So I'll give everyone, if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. But while I give you a minute to do so, I will say thank you, Jeff. Great job, and thank you everyone for attending today. You will receive a follow-up email with the recording of this webinar by tomorrow. In the future, please be sure to keep up with us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel. As I keep saying, Jeff's got a great playlist on our YouTube channel that covers a lot of Power Platform updates, announcements. I think you've got quite I think there's like 8 of them now on there. And this one obviously will be added. And check our events page for more upcoming webinars. But I'm not seeing any more questions in the Q&A chat, so we'll give you, as my boss always says, 22 minutes back in your day. But thank you everybody for joining, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.